Hello and welcome to Sunflower Philosophy Tarot. My name is Juliana, and today's timeless pick a card reading is all about what is haunting you and how you can begin to move on from whatever it is. And of course, this is a Halloween themed reading because I am recording and releasing it around Halloween time, but it is timeless, so really, whenever you find it, it can still apply to you. And before we get into the reading itself, I want to first say that if you do like what you see here, I do offer personal readings on my website, sunflowerphilosophy.com. And my mom and I are hypnotists as well, and my mom does human design. So if you're interested in any of our other services, you can also check those out on the same website. Link is in the description. And now let's get into our brief centering exercise. If you would like to join me for that, it's just a meditation to help you get into your intuition before we go to the group selection and you select your group. And if you would not like to join me for that, you can check out the timestamps below and skip ahead as much as you want. Up to you. But for those of you who are joining me for the brief centering exercise, please take a moment to get comfortable, get yourself situated, make sure that you're not doing anything like driving that requires your full attention. If so, just come back later. And when you're ready, you can close your eyes and bring your attention to your breathing. And now that you are comfortable and bringing your full attention to yourself, I would like you to set the intention that this brief centering exercise will help you get in touch with your intuition so that you can confidently and easily pick the group that is meant for you and easily accept the messages that are for you and leave anything that is not. And as you continue to relax and focus on your breathing, I'm just going to ask that as you inhale, just make sure you're taking a nice deep breath and inhaling just any good, wonderful stuff that you want to inhale. Whatever you need right now, just imagine you're inhaling that through your nose. And as you exhale, just imagine you're exhaling out anything that you don't need, anything that you're ready to release through your mouth. Just focus on that for a few breaths, and as you exhale, you relax even deeper into your seat or whatever you're resting on. And you just listen to the sound of my voice and settle in to this lovely, peaceful meditation. And as you relax even deeper, you realize how deeply connected you are to your intuition. You reaffirm that bond that you have with the universe that helps you understand what is truly meant for you and what is not. You easily and naturally are a gifted, intuitive person who knows where you're meant to be, what you're meant to do, and also understands that no matter where you are or who you are exactly where and who you are meant to be. You feel confident when you select your group for a reading, and you bring that confidence into other decisions in your life, no matter how big or small they may seem. You know that you can always trust your intuition, that you can always rely on the universe to bring you an answer, or whatever it is that you believe in. And you can always rely on your senses to pick up on that which is most meaningful and useful for you in each and every moment. You are ready to tap into today's message, to receive messages that align you with your highest good, with messages that are meant to help you feel your best, live your best life in whatever way that looks like for you. And you are ready to release whatever it is that needs to be released in order to move into the best version of yourself that you can be in this moment. And you know that you are a wonderful person who is exactly where you need to be, and you can always trust that you are on the right path, that you are loved, that you are worthy, and that taking time to be with yourself, to take care of yourself, to focus on yourself is just as much a service to the universe as being of service to others. And you hold both with equal weight. And you know that everything is always working out for you and for your best. So trust yourself and be kind to yourself. And know that whatever messages you've received today are in service of your highest good. And you will know exactly what to do with them if there's anything you need to do to make sure that any positive messages that are aligned with you are integrated into your life and help you live a little bit lighter and a little bit better moving forward. And with all that being said, if you would like to remain in this meditation for a little while longer, feel free to pause the video and return when you are ready. But for those of you who are ready to move on to the group selection, we will move on to that in just a moment. Okay, thank you to everyone who joined me for the brief centering exercise, and thank you to anyone who did not. Either way, I am so happy to have you here. And as I mentioned in the intro, we are doing a what is haunting you right now and what can you do to release whatever that is reading. Basically, we're just looking into anything that's bothering you, that's kind of dogging you a bit in your life, and as if it's like a spirit that we need to release, that we need to help move on and let go of. That's what we're going to look into in terms of solutions for you, in terms of what we can do about it. I have 4 groups here, and I have pre-selected cards for each group, which we'll get into what is haunting you, and then we'll use more tarot cards and other cards to get advice for what you can do about it. I, in the spirit of Halloween, have collected obviously different kinds of candy, and so each cauldron holds a different candy. I'll show them to you now just so you can see what they are. You can use the candies to pick, or you can just use anything else that you usually use to help you select your group. Of course, trust your intuition and pick more than one group if you feel, pick all the groups, pick a group and then change your mind. Whatever you want to do, that's up to you. Just trust that you'll know when you find messages that are meant for you. You will know, you'll hear them, and you will be exactly where you need to be when you need to be there. So that being said, let's get into our groups. So for group 1, we have this little Snickers bar. For group 2, we have Starburst. For group 3, we have Milky Way. And for group 4, we have Skittles. So take all the time you need, go to the timestamps if you need to, and pick your group, and I will see you over in your reading. Hi group 1, if you selected the Snickers bar, then you're in the right place, and this is your reading all about what is haunting you right now and what you can do about it. Like, how can we move on? So I'm meaning this to be like, basically, how do I want to say this? It's like, what's bothering you? Like, if there's something bothering you, something that's been following you around, whether for a while or just for a week, it doesn't matter. We'll see when we get into the cards. What is it? And this could be a confirmation for you if you are aware of something that is bothering you, and this sounds like the thing that you're asking about if you have a specific thing in mind. But it can also be like, oh, maybe I didn't realize this is exactly what was actually bothering me. Maybe something's kind of been in the back of my mind, or maybe it's been a little bit subconscious, but this is resonating with me, and we're bringing it to the forefront in order for you to recognize it so that you can then release it. It could be either one of those things, so you can just, again, use your intuition to tap into what messages are for you. And yeah, we're going to start by using these pre-selected cards to tell us what it is that's haunting you, and then we'll get into some more tarot in order to get advice for what you can do about that, how we can start to move on. So let's flip over your cards and get right into it. So group 1, what is haunting you? So you got 2 astrology cards. So we have Midheaven with Pinnacle, and we have 7th house with Relationship. So we have the numbers 36 and 45 could be significant for you. So ages could be 36 and 45. The number 9 could be significant. The number 9 could definitely be significant because that's those both simplify to 9 numerologically. And let's see what your tarot card is. We have the Eon or Aeon. I'm actually not sure how that's correctly pronounced. And that is, I believe it's the same, it's card 20, so it's the same as the Judgment card in Rider-Waite-Smith Tarot, but this is the Thoth Tarot, so that's why it is the Aeon instead. And then we have 2 quote cards that came out for you as well, which, I mean, I feel like you got a lot of cards here, so maybe whatever this is that's bothering you is like kind of a big deal, or it's been with you for a while. So we have A Life Lived in Fear is a Life Half Lived by Maggie Stiefvater, From All the Crooked Saints by Maggie Stiefvater. And we have The More Love You Give, the More You Are Capable of Giving. It's only when you shut off the source that it dries up, from Band Sinister by KJ Charles. Okay, so let's see, what's the best? Is that, can you still see that? Yeah, you can still see that, but I also want you to be able to see this one, so let's move these over a little bit. Okay, so I feel like this is a little out of place. All right, so group number 1, what is haunting you right now? What is haunting you right now? Okay. With the seventh house being here, relationship, it could be, I feel like there's maybe an underlying energy that could be underlying a lot of different sort of scenarios for some of you. So we'll get into like what the underlying energy is here. But for more specifics, for a lot of you here, it could have to do with a relationship, or a relationship could be showing you like this sort of energy, like could be demonstrated through relationship. One scenario that I was getting that's kind of specific is a past relationship that's haunting you. And it's almost like a what could have been. Yeah, like, and you know, this doesn't have to be specifically about a romantic relationship. It could be metaphorical. So take that if you feel like there is a past situation where it's almost like a love that you had that you feel like you had a chance with and you messed it up, or it got messed up, or it was squandered, or you made a choice that was different than the choice that you thought you were going to make. And you're wondering if you messed it up, or you, it's like, I could see this being like someone leaving behind a relationship thinking that it's not good enough for them, and then looking back and being like, maybe that was it. Maybe that was the one, right? Maybe I let the one go. Or choosing to stay with someone and being like, well, but what if this isn't it, right? Like, what if this isn't the pinnacle? Because that's the keyword on the midheaven card. What if that's not the best I can do? Like, what if there's better out there? Ooh, whoops. Sorry, just banged my knee. What if there's better out there for me? So it's like someone who I feel like is questioning their judgment on a decision that you made to either enter a relationship or end a relationship. Or if it's not specifically about a relationship, it's like to either start something or end something where you're like, was that it? Like, it could even be about a job. Like, was that my dream job? Or did I give up on my dream career? Or is what I'm doing right now actually the best I can do? Or is there something else out there that would make me happier? And I feel like for a lot of you, it's almost like there was this one major decision where you made a decision that you regretted or questioned in hindsight that is potentially making it difficult for you to make new decisions and take new leaps of faith in the present. Because we have a life lived in fear is a life half lived, and the more love you give, the more you are capable of giving. It's only when you shut off the source that it dries up. And I feel like those are both indicating that there might be the specific decision or event that's haunting you from the past, that it's impacting you in your present by creating this fear around, can I trust myself? Can I trust my judgment? Can I truly make good decisions that will actually lead me to my ultimate happiness and my best life? Or have I squandered that chance? Is it too late for me? And also, am I just destined to make the wrong quote unquote decision every time? That's what I'm feeling like. So I'm feeling like the way this could be manifesting for you in your life is that you are either like say the relationship, which I think for a lot of you in this group, it is about a relationship, but it doesn't have to be. But I feel like for a lot of you, it is a situation where, say the relationship situation is resonating with you. Maybe it's a situation where a past relationship that ended in some way has caused you to doubt your judgment in either people or your judgment in terms of like what is right for you and what's not. And so it's creating this fear of even trying. You're just like, why do I bother? Like either that person was the one for me and I let them go, or I can't trust myself in these situations, so I just might as well not do this, you know? Like, I feel like that's the kind of situation, or at least energy underlying a situation that it's like holding you back right now. Because you feel like you missed out. I feel like you feel like you missed out on something great. Or it's too late for you to experience something amazing in the future. Or like that wonderful, beautiful, like amazing thing that you're imagining for yourself doesn't exist. Like it's almost like you tried and it didn't work out, so you're just like, it's not happening. And this is haunting you now because it's stopping you from even trying. It's stopping you from even making the move, making the effort, actually like having trust in yourself, having hope and faith, and having wonder about like, well, what is possible? You know, maybe that didn't work out, but maybe it wasn't meant to, but maybe it was meant to lead me to something else. But I feel like you got stuck. You got stopped by whatever this was instead. And it's hard for you to let go, understandably, because it does feel like it was like, I don't know, like in some way a hope or a dream didn't like happen or didn't live up to expectations, and it crushed part of you a little bit, you know, the really hopeful part that believed in more. Yeah, and I do feel like there's a sense of holding back, and there's a sense of, it's like, yeah, living your life by half because to live it fully you're afraid would ruin you in some way, or that it's not even possible to do so. And then with the sense of the more love you give, the more you're capable of giving, it's only when you shut off the source that it dries up. I feel like these are both kind of advice for you already in terms of like a perspective shift, an attitude shift about life, right? Shifting from well, that's it, it's not worth taking any chances because I missed my chance, there was only one, or because I squander all my chances, or I mess it up in some way, or I'm wrong. And you're afraid of being wrong. You're afraid of making the wrong choice again, quote unquote. But it's like a life lived in fear is a life half lived. So it's kind of like, no, don't just let that one situation that didn't work out the way that you thought stop you. Like, don't live in fear because of one thing. Learn to lighten up, loosen up, and explore and open up again to the world, to life. With the more love you give, the more you're capable of giving. It's only when you shut off the source that it dries up. It's like, I feel like you have sort of like guarded and protected yourself in a way where there's part of you that you're afraid to be depleted. You're afraid to be maybe taken advantage of. You're afraid to give your love out and not have it returned. And this is about finding the reserves of love within you. It's like, especially if this has to do with relationships, there could be this feeling of like, oh, if I'm in a relationship, then I get totally lost in the other person. I give someone else power to hurt me, to take advantage of me, to this, to that. But this is about finding a sense of personal power that helps you feel so much more secure in yourself, that you're less afraid of what someone else could take from you. You're not as like focused on, you're not as focused on self-protection because you don't feel as vulnerable. But that's because things like vulnerability don't scare you as much as they once did. Like, I'm almost getting like, I'm like tapping into a future version of you that's sort of worked through this and feels this way. So it's almost like whatever is holding you back right now, you're meant to learn through that, so that once you've gone through that cycle and let that go and release that, you will be so strong in yourself. It's almost like you'll be the polar opposite, but in a really healthy way, because you had to go through this learning. It's like you have an even more solid foundation within. So it's like, yeah, so like this big dream that you have, you might be feeling like you're living the opposite of it right now, but that is, and you might have a strong desire for it, even if you shut that down or shut that off, or are afraid to go for it. But that is because you have such strong potential to live in the opposite way. It's almost like you're experiencing one polarity before you shift into the other. Interesting. Okay, so we're already getting a little bit into advice and into like some future prediction, which I did not expect. I don't like go into this aiming to no, shuffling these the wrong way. I don't go into these readings aiming to predict the future typically, but I do feel like that potential is there for you if you want to take it to live your dream like to the fullest extent. So if you feel like you've been living in the opposite of that, it's like only because the potential is there for what you truly want, what you feel has been lacking, to come in like tenfold. Okay, sure. That sounds amazing. So how do you get there? Let's talk about this. Let's talk about how can group 1 heal and release what is this energy that's haunting them, this fear. How can group 1 release what is haunting them? How can group 1 release what is haunting them? Strength. Number 8, strength. Number 5, the Hierophant. 2 major arcana already. How can group 1 release what is haunting them? Justice, okay. Lots of major arcana popping out. Yeah, this is definitely a big thing. This is a big cycle for you guys. If you guys believe in things like past lives and in soul contracts and in like life plans and things like karmic cycles and things like that, then this for you is a big karmic cycle that you are meant to be experiencing and closing out in this lifetime. So if that resonates for you, then you can take that as confirmation. How can group 1 release this thing that's haunting them? Magician, is this upright or reverse? Wow. Oh my gosh, guys. This is big. This is big, group 1. And last but not least, how can group... Okay, 10 of Wands. Right. Knight of Coins on the bottom of the deck. Yeah, this has been a long journey, and it might still be. You can't see that Knight of Coins. I mean, I don't, like, it's kind of just, I think the Knight of Coins here is really just letting you know, like, confirming, like, yeah, this has been a long journey, maybe a long time coming in terms of releasing this. And it might be something that you've gone through already and or will go through in some stages. So this is almost like I don't expect it all to happen at once, because this is a big thing that you're releasing, a big thing that you're going through. So be patient with yourself, be patient with your journey, because this is something that if you believe in, multiple lifetimes, if you believe that you're continuing on this like soul journey and that and if you know that you've had other lifetimes and things like this, then this is something that is setting you up for future lifetimes. Like you're releasing this so other lifetimes will not have to deal with this situation, and or you've been through this cycle many times in many lifetimes, and it's a long time coming. Like the aeon here. I'm also like, I don't know, I'm feeling like the sense of like I don't even know if that's what this means, but like eons or aeons, like a long period of time, right? Like, that this has been going on, like, and it's like, I do feel like a big part of it is culminating right now in this lifetime, or at least like coming to an end to some degree. But yeah, how can you release this? Well, first things first, not all at once. If this is a journey where you feel like you've been on this, and you don't have to believe in like past lifetimes as well, if that doesn't resonate with you, it just could be like over the course of your life, this has been a big theme. And if you feel like you've already been through the bulk of that journey, then this is potentially, it is coming to an end for you soon. I mean, we do have the 10 of Wands here, and that's the end of the Wand suit. So it's like all this accumulation of burdens, but it's also what happens right before you release the burdens. It's the moment when you realize, oh no, it's time to release this. So I feel like a lot of you could be coming to the end of the cycle. But again, it's been long. It's required you to be patient with yourself. And for some of you, you still need to continue to be patient with this journey. But with strength, this is about resilience. And I was feeling like this sense of, again, if you feel like there was a situation that like one particular decision or relationship or situation that sort of like broke you in a sense, right? Like, you're not meant to let that stop you forever. So there's a shift in perspective that's happening. There's a learning with the Hierophant here, a learning that's happening around resilience, around strength, around taking resistance, anything that feels like resistance or contrast or weight, and like almost like when you're in the gym, like you're bench pressing. Well, I don't know if you are doing that. I don't do that. But if you're like bench pressing something like, and you add on more weight when you get stronger, like it's kind of what you've been doing. Like, yeah, I do feel like for a lot of you, this is going to resonate in terms of like a really spiritual kind of like karmic cycle, like multiple lives, like big lessons that you've been learning. If that's the kind of like belief system and thought process and the kind of also experiences that you've had that resonates with you, where you're like, yes, I know what this is about. Like some of you might even know, like, yes, you know what, this confirms like this has been a long time coming, this thing that I've been learning. You know, there's like big learning here. But it's like you've been building strength. You've been building resilience. And so the reason why things might have felt so heavy is because it's almost like it's because you've gotten strong enough to hold that weight. It's like I'm getting like the, like I don't know, like God gives his toughest battles to his strongest soldiers or whatever. And I'm not a religious person personally. So it's not like a phrase that I like think about too often in my own context of life, but like, yeah, like it's like the toughest battle, strongest soldiers. And this is like, I do feel like there's a reframe or a confirmation here that's going to help you release this, that is about your own strength. It's about like seeing this as like a workout, this whatever situation that has caused you pain or caused you to hide a little bit. It's like reframing that experience from one of wounding and one of rejection and pain and or like feeling like you did something wrong, to reframing it to like, no, this was given to me. This was an experience that I had because I was able to hold it. And if it doesn't resonate with you, like if you're not someone who's like, yeah, you know what, I can take on spiritual lessons and I see life as a spiritual lesson and I like that perspective, like you don't have to resonate with that. But the reframing of something from something that wounded you to something that built your strength is potentially a mindset that is going to be helpful for you at this time. And I'm aware that that's not always the most helpful mindset for someone to have. Like sometimes someone needs to go through a process of allowing themselves to acknowledge how they truly feel, and if they truly feel victimized and wounded and even weak or pathetic, I just heard. Like, because for some of you, I do feel like this is a situation where you made a choice that you blame yourself for. It's not really that you're like, why did this happen to me? Why me? It's more like, oh, I'm bad. Like I made the wrong decision. And for some of you, both of those kinds of feelings could be tangled up a bit. But it's like, no, you're meant to reframe that as, no, this experience was happening for me. It was happening through me. It was something that I was meant to experience. It's something that I am able to hold. I'm able to work through. I'm strong enough to handle. And I have a lot of really good learning, really strong wisdom that I have gathered from this experience that will help me close out the cycle, help me take back my power with the Magician. Like the Magician is like, oh, like, no, you have all the tools you need. Like everything that you've been through up to this moment has given you like these tools and this wisdom to close out this cycle, whatever, again, like this karmic cycle. And or if you don't see it as like a karmic cycle, you can see it as like maybe a generational cycle, like maybe if this is about some kind of relationship situation. Maybe one of the reasons why you've been so hard on yourself about the way things played out is because you feel like you were playing out a cycle that has been in your family for generations. Maybe it's something that you swore you would never go through yourself, and then you did. And it's like, no, like, you can still end this cycle. You're not just continuing it, but you had to, or even if you don't want to see it as you had to, right? Like, that might not be empowering. For some people, that could be empowering in terms of like, well, you know what, I was meant to go through this experience because I can handle it and I'm strong enough or whatever. Other people might feel more called to this storyline of like, it is what it is. It's just what happened, and I don't have to judge it, but I can make the most of it if I want to and if I so choose. And I feel like you are shifting into that mindset of like, power, of personal power, where you are saying, no matter what, even if this wasn't fair, even if I'm mad about it, even if I'm still a bit angry with myself, I'm owning this situation. I'm owning this I'm owning the decisions I made in this situation, and I am moving forward. And I am claiming my personal power. I'm claiming the wisdom that I can claim from this experience, and saying, you know what, like, the mistakes I made, quote unquote, even if you want to see it as mistakes, the mistakes I've made have given me learning, have given me wisdom, have given me the tools I need. And I'm ready to, like, yeah. And I feel like there's been an element for you of, one of the reasons you've been really hard on yourself about whatever the situation is, no matter if you feel like you wronged someone, or you feel like you were wronged, or you just feel like, oh, like, I should have been better, or if I had been different, the situation would have turned out differently. Like, no matter what it is that you exactly feel, like, there is some level of self-blame and self-doubt here. As a result of the situation. And I feel like it's because you've put a lot of the weight of the world on your shoulders. You've put a little bit too much emphasis on your personal power in like the wrong way, where it's like you're claiming your power, but like negatively, in terms of like, oh, well, like, my power is to mess things up. So like, I did this and I suck. Instead of saying, okay, like, you can claim responsibility for something without placing blame and shame on yourself. You can say, well, my choices are my own. I made those choices in a place of power. I can also make new choices from a place of power and make different choices and choose to see myself and my experience in a different way and be powerful in that way. And I do feel like a lot of you are just on the cusp of that, or the edge of that. And again, this feels like a really... either the cycle is like just about to really fully come to an end for you, and this is kind of like a message that's confirming that it's like almost like I'm getting like being capped off, like it's being like there's like a or like a pen you're putting a cap on, like it's like someone's writing something, like they've been writing a long story and then they cap the pen and they put it down and they're done. The story's over. It's come to its climax. It's come to its ending, and now it is you're writing like the falling action, and then you write the end, and then you close the book. And for others of you, like, it's like, this is a sign that the worst is over. Like, whatever you experienced that made you afraid in some way, or made you doubt in some way, that was the worst, quote unquote. And that's over. It's reached its peak, it's reached its pinnacle, and everything else is going to be like de-escalating from here. And you need to trust that, and trust yourself that you are on that road to de-escalation, because it's part of, even if you still feel that self-doubt and lack of trust and self-blame in some aspect, you are learning. You might not see it. You have learned, you are learning, you have changed, you have grown, you are on the right path. And part of that path is still unraveling some of that blame and doubt. And that might be your real last hurdle, is like the stuff that you hold yourself responsible for, that you have trouble forgiving yourself for, and recognizing that and acknowledging that and saying and owning it, and just being like, even the things that I'm ashamed of, even the things I blame myself for, like, can I own my experience? Can I own my power in those moments? Can I say, you know what, I did that, I made those decisions, and I did my best, and I'm look at me, I'm so powerful. You know, I created that for myself. Okay, sure. Then I can create something else. I can create something better. I can create something amazing. And for some of you, that's going to be the most important thing, most empowering thing. For others of you, more empowering would be to say, that wasn't my fault. I don't need to put all of that on my shoulders. It is what it is. And I can move on and release all of that responsibility for myself and put some of that, put that into the universe. Say, you know, I'm working together with the universe on this to intentionally create something different. And I can claim that power without claiming the things that I feel like I did wrong in the past. You can separate yourself from that if you want to. And I feel like the reason so many different perspectives are coming through in this reading here is because I feel like part of this learning is you learning that it's not so much about it's not so much about were you right or wrong or this or that. It's so much more about how you feel and how you see things. And so it's not like, oh, you know what, it's morally right for me to blame myself and to see this as my fault. That's how I take responsibility. It's more like, no, there's not really one right or wrong way to see it. It's more about what's the most empowering way for you to see this. And choose that and make that your truth. And understand that there's like an energetics, like there's an energy underneath that. It's like you're learning to claim your power in a way that actually truly feels empowering, as opposed to like puts more weight on you in terms of like, and in that sense, like it's going to make it easier for you to make decisions from a place of power, because no matter what you're saying, you know what, like I claim this decision, I own this decision, I own the outcomes of this decision, and I also trust that it's going to work out for the best. And like, I have the ability to make the best out of anything that comes my way. And so you're just deciding that that's how it's going to be. And you're less caught up on judging yourself or judging the situation and being like, was that right? Or was that wrong? You're like, no, it just is right. And whatever happens, happens. And I will find ways to make it right, to align with it, to accept what is happening, and to also make the choices to the best of my ability that I can in the moment, to that feel aligned and empowered to me, and just trust that that is enough. That's all you need to do. And yeah, it's like, I feel like if you've been too in your head, too heady about things, trying to figure out what went right or wrong, it's like, no, it's not about that. It's about what's the energy underneath what you're feeling, what you're doing. And can you tap into what story, what perspective feels the most empowering in a really like strong, positive, solid way. I'm like feeling like this really strong certainty, like this platform. I was about to say in my body, and that doesn't really make sense, but it's almost like your energy is like standing on this strong platform, and you're like, there's this sturdiness, the stableness within you, and it's like, no matter what I do, I'm right, or no matter what I do, everything is working out, like I'm okay. And it's, yeah, there's this freedom from seeing like your past decisions in such a harsh light. It's either you're seeing them in a neutral light, or you're even seeing them in a really positive and more empowered light. And I do feel like there's a level of like honing your personal beliefs, that like accepting that your personal, accepting that there's no one true, real, morally correct personal belief system around a thing, and that it truly is within your power to decide. Like, that's what this magician is all about. The magician is just like, I'm gonna make it happen because I'm gonna make it happen, because it's me, because I'm doing it, and I'm just gonna do it, and it's gonna work, and I have everything I need, and I trust that. And like, you are claiming that, and so you're just like, no, I decide. So I'm also going to get, oh yeah, we're gonna take that. I'm gonna get a couple of moon cards. So group 1, how can you clarify further, how could they release this thing that's haunting them? Yeah, okay. First things first, new moon in Leo. With the strength card here, Leo could be a significant placement for you. And And look at this. Look at this. We have this new moon in Leo card with this yellow, and I put it over the midheaven card. And then we have this full moon in Libra with this like purpley kind of watercolor looking thing. And I put it over this 7th house card, which they just kind of match. And so it would be funny if you have like a midheaven in Leo and a Libra in your 7th house. I don't even know if that's possible in an astrological chart, but also maybe your midheaven and 7th house placements are significant, so you can check that out. Also, Libra and Leo could be significant in your chart, but it doesn't matter. Either way, we have confidence is your key to success. So yeah, you really need to regain and rebuild your confidence. And to simplify it a bit, because I was getting a little bit esoteric and kind of out there in terms of like the energetics and like how you feel and like honing your personal belief system. But if that all kind of feels a little bit too like intangible and confusing, let's simplify it. And with confidence is your key to success, it's also like maybe part of it is just like, instead of focusing on the situation and choices that you made and trying to make the right choice in the future, focus on your feeling of confidence. Focus on building confidence in yourself. Make that your focus as opposed to thinking through and making the right decisions. Because the more confidence you have, the more trust you have that decisions that you make are either correct or that you can make them correct, or that you just trust that no matter what happens, you have the confidence to make it through the situation. Like having that, like again, there's this sturdiness I'm feeling within me, like this sturdy, solid foundation, like you feeling solid no matter what. And so you wouldn't experience the same situation that you experienced in the past the same way, even if it happened again, because you are so much more confident and strong in yourself that you're just like, you know what, like even if you did something again where you're like, you know what, I feel like I made a mistake there, you have the confidence to be like, that's okay. You know what, I'll just get back up and I'll try again. And you don't, I want to say, waste so much energy and time trying to never make a mistake again, because you're just like, you have the confidence to not let that like define who you are. So if you want to just really be simple about this, and you don't, and you want just an easy like direction of like, okay, what do you have to do to let this go? Focus on building your confidence. And there's so many different ways you can do that, you know? Hypnosis is one that's really worked for me. Just using that to build on this subconscious belief of like, I'm confident and I know who I am and everything like that. Like, so like hypnosis, affirmations, going to therapy, there's so many different ways you can work on building your confidence. Just exposure therapy, going out and doing the thing you're afraid of and like handling the fear, building resilience to the fear, to the discomfort, and then eventually overcoming it. You know, with Leo, with this lion here, there's a lot of courage in that. There's a lot of heart and courage and strength, and that is what you're building within yourself, and you're finding that. I feel like you already have that within you. You just might not consciously see it. So you're like, it's almost like I feel like you're finding your core again. You're returning to your core of courage and confidence and strength. It's already there. You have to uncover it, and it might just be under some like overthinking about related to this past, whatever past situation that made you doubt and question yourself. And then with the full moon in Libra, a win-win outcome is forecast. Well, first of all, you can take that as a sign that a win-win outcome is forecast, and that especially if there is something in a relationship, like maybe there's a current relationship that you're dealing with or a future relationship that you're worried about things not working out in because of something in the past. It's like you will come to a compromise. You'll come to a compromise that works for both of you, that you're both happy with, or you'll come to a conclusion that is that leaves both of you feeling satisfied with how things played out. Or just in general, a win-win outcome is forecast, I feel like is the attitude that you're being asked to have about life. Because I feel like for a lot of you, this lack of confidence, this doubt, this fear of maybe even specifically relationships, but this fear of whatever it is that you've been avoiding, is because you feel like the situation is like a win-lose thing. And I'm getting, again, like a relationship where there was a breakup and maybe one person came out stronger and you feel like you came out on the back foot or weaker, or like you feel like it's always got to be like either you're the one who gets hurt or you're the one who hurt someone else. And you're having this win-lose vision of what a relationship can be. And this is shifting that perspective to No, relationships can be win-win. You can work together. You can create a dynamic where everyone is safe and happy and comfortable. And one way that you do that is by letting go of the idea that you're inherently either like taking from someone or having someone else take from you. And you're instead seeing this as you're both working together to build each other up. And sometimes that might take some discomfort. Sometimes there might be times when you feel like, oh, wait, this might be unequal or uneven, and then you start to realize that there's a different way that you can approach the situation that works for both of you, or there's another way that you can think about it or approach it for yourself that shifts the whole dynamic. And you realize it's not just as simple as it's only a win-lose situation if you can only imagine a win-lose situation. But you're being asked to start imagining how can instead of asking who's winning or losing here, ask how can this be a win-win situation for everyone. That is key. And so that's what you're being asked to do. And oh yeah, and it's like Libra, wait, isn't Libra the 7th house? And so we got full moon in Libra over the relationships, the 7th house. Oh my God, wait, that's so funny. Yeah, no. I do feel like even if this isn't directly about a like romantic relationship or anything, I do feel like whatever this situation is, whatever this doubt, lack of confidence, fear, and avoidance it is impacting your relationships in your life. And I do feel like a lot of it comes back to this idea of a win-lose mindset that's been haunting you, this feeling of like either I'm hurting someone or I'm being hurt, and there's no way to actually win in this scenario. And it's like, no, we are releasing that past specter, that thing that happened that created this, or the whole mentality and energy itself. We're releasing that. We're building confidence, and we're thinking creatively about. We're becoming this magician where as the magician, you're thinking creatively about how you can create the best outcome for everyone instead of resigning yourself to an outcome that you're unsatisfied with and that you really don't like, ultimately. And we love that for you because there's so much power here. I just feel like you're uncovering your inner power and you're really coming into yourself and putting yourself back out there. Amazing. So build that confidence and create those win-win outcomes for yourself and for the people in your life because they're there for the taking. You just have to be willing to go for it and to think, and it can be really fun. I feel like it can be really fun to start to imagine more outside the box. Like, wait, how can this actually work out? Like, how is this already working out for everyone? And how can this actually work out even better? And what can I do? How can we both approach this? How can we all approach this together? Like that kind of thing. There's a lot of creative thinking in there, and I think that would be really fun for you. I just do feel like you need to focus on building your confidence, and you'll get more of that inspiration, and you'll also start to feel more comfortable imagining those scenarios because just like with confidence comes along this belief in yourself and this belief in, things can actually work out. So yeah, keep honing that, be patient with yourself. This is a big deal. This is a big thing for you that you're closing out, and I feel like you are ready to close it out. So I hope that you feel more empowered to release this thing that's been haunting you so that you no longer feel haunted. I hope that you feel good, you feel lighter, and I hope this resonated with you. So yeah, that's all we have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I would love to hear how this resonated with you. And if you're interested, once again, in personal readings, we do offer those on our website, sunflowerphilosophy.com, and hypnosis and human design services as well. So yeah, thanks again for watching. Have a wonderful life, and I will see you in another reading again sometime very soon. Bye! Hi Group 2, if you selected the Starburst, then you're in the right place, and this is your reading all about what is haunting you and how you can move on from that. So yeah, anything that's maybe bothering you a bit, whether it's a big thing that's been bothering you for a long time or something that's just bothering you this week. And you also might be consciously aware of this, or you might not be so consciously aware of this. So either way, this could be, first we're going to start, first of all, by finding out what is haunting you. And so that can be a confirmation for you if you're already thinking of something that's on your mind and you want to hear about that, or if you kind of have, just been experiencing like maybe a subconscious little thing in the back of your mind and this ends up resonating with you intuitively, then that could also confirm it for you, but it doesn't have to be something that you're consciously thinking of right now. It could be something where you're like, oh, wait, you know what? That hasn't been at the forefront of my mind, but it has been bothering me for a long time, or something like that, you know? It could be any of those things. So, that being said, we're gonna find out what's haunting you with these cards, and then we'll use some tarot and moonology cards to just get some advice on how you can move on, how you can let it go, how you can help whatever spirit that's been following you around move on and transition into the next life so that you can live lighter and happier. How about that? So let's get into it, shall we? Group 2. All right, so your astrology card is Neptune Vision. And then we have your tarot card, which is the Empress, number 3. So we have a 26 and 3. So those could be significant numbers for you. 2 plus 6 is 8. So 8 could be a significant number, 3 could be a significant number. And you got 3 quote cards. So actually, how do I want to arrange these? Okay, let's do it like this. So your first quote card is this kind of explosion looking thing, which says, you might want to think about why it is you feel the need to destroy things, from Anne with an E. And then you have 2 more. We have this one, which says, but if there was such a thing as truth, it was far more complicated and murky than she'd assumed, from The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. And then we have this one last but not least, which says, the essence of growth is to put more attention on context rather than content. From Existential Kink by Carolyn Elliott. And first things first, Existential Kink might be a book that you resonate with, that you would be interested in checking out. It's, if you haven't heard of it before, it is sort of like a self-help, spiritual manifestation almost kind of book. And it goes in pretty deep with some interesting takes on existentialism and how we experience both the highs and lows of life, and how we can like reframe that experience. And it's one of those things where it might be a polarizing concept. It might not resonate with everyone, but I do feel for some people in this group it would resonate with you if you have not checked it out yet. So it could be a useful book for you that could help you on your journey to releasing whatever this is. So with that being said, what is this? What is haunting you? So with the Empress and Neptune, okay, so this could be something that is it could be something that's more subconscious for you, or like almost like underlying a lot of things that you do, but like more subtle. It could be something to do with actually spirituality, and I was getting a specific example of like something that's haunting you is related to this concept of manifestation, of creating your own life, and this vision that you have for the future that you feel like it's taking a long time or is not working. You feel like manifestation is either not working for you, or like the whole concept of it has maybe taken over your life and it's kind of almost haunting you in the sense of like you feel so much pressure put on by this idea of like, oh, I can create my own life, and like it's almost like this spiritual concept, which could be very helpful, has become more of a burden, or something frustrating, something that maybe you aren't approaching it from the healthiest standpoint, from the most helpful like perspective at this time, which is totally fine and natural and part of the learning process of life, where you know, learn, or you either grow past something like a way of thinking, or you learn differently and you're just like, okay, that's not working for me anymore, or that was never working for me and it's time to try something different. And it could be something like that. And it can also be, if it's not like specifically about like manifestation or spirituality in a concrete sense, it could be about like a creative vision as well, something that you've been longing to create, even just around your own creativity, this like subconscious frustration with your creativity, and like like, yeah, like something that's like stopping you from actually creating, which for some of you also can link, there could be something subconscious relating to your mother. And maybe for some of you in this case, it's really just like your mother is almost like haunting you, like whether she's alive or not, in your life or not, there's some aspect that could have to do with the feminine in your life, the whatever strongest feminine figure you have in your life. So there's an element of that as well. But I think no matter what, it does somehow tie back to this idea of like your creativity, whether it's like what you're creating in your life or like specifically your creative projects in your life. If you are someone who like is creating something or would like to create something, whether it's artistic or business or anything like that, something where you're creating something from the ground up, or you're creating something from nothing, you know what I mean? Like you're bringing something into this world, but it's like this frustration around it. There's this feeling of blocking yourself or being blocked. And this, you might want to think about why it is you feel the need to destroy things. Again, I do feel like this is subconscious for a lot of you. It's like you might know you have this tendency, but you might not know where it's coming from or like what exactly it is. But that to me speaks of self-sabotage. You might want to think about why it is you feel the need to destroy things. There's some kind of self-sabotage here. And it could be linked for some of you directly to your mother or feminine figure in your life, who maybe had the same patterns or caused some kind of blockage in you or self-doubt in you from the way that you were raised or the way that they treated you, or just like observing their own life. But if there's such a thing as truth, it was far more complicated and murky than she'd assumed. Yeah, this speaks to me again of like this being something that's haunting you that you're not fully aware of, that's not fully conscious for you, and that's kind of confusing to you. But I also feel like there's this element of, especially going back to, and forgive me, there's like so many different specific scenarios that are coming through. I might be jumping between them a lot, but specifically going back to the one about like the idea of manifestation and what it takes to create a vision. It's almost like this feeling of like this presumption that it was simpler than it is, even though I feel like it is a simple process, but I almost feel like there's more to it. It's like there's more to it than you thought there was. Like maybe like if you resonate with the manifestation thing, like maybe you got into like that whole spiritual community and you got this idea of like, okay, this is what I need to do, and I need to do X, Y, and Z, and that's going to work for me and whatever. And then you realize that there's actually more to it than you thought, and there's more layers to uncover within yourself, and like it hasn't worked for the way that you thought it would, because the perspective you were coming at it from was incomplete. Like there's more to the story, and you might not even fully know what that is. You just know that like whatever it is that you've been told or whatever it is that you've been doing has not been working, and there's something more to it. And if that specific example of like manifestation and like not feeling like that's working for you resonates with you, there is a manifestation coach that I actually listen to sometimes because I'm curious about what she has to say, and I like the way she says things. Her name is Genevieve. I think I've said this before that I would link her channel and I forget. But I think her channel is called like Manifest with Genevieve or Manifestation with Genevieve or something like that. So you might recognize her, and I've liked, she's where I actually got the suggestion of Existential Kink, the book by Carolyn Elliott first, and I thought that was really cool. So I like the way that she explains things, because even though I've personally not been super active in that like whole community, I do find it interesting to learn about, and like there are a lot of ways of looking at life and perspectives on life and the universe and how you can and how you see yourself as a part of it and how you see your own personal power that I feel like resonates, especially the way that she says it. And so that might be a perspective that would help you. That could be, I'm already getting into advice, I guess, but that could be a place that you can go to get the new perspective that you're looking for. Or it might not be. She might not resonate with you. It doesn't matter. Either way, you'll find what does, and you'll find your answers that you're looking for. I do feel that strongly. But yeah, I feel like part of the truth that you're learning too is the essence of growth is to put more attention on context rather than content. Yeah, like it's like I feel like one of the things that's coming to the surface for you from your subconscious is this idea of like focusing more on the more on the way that you're thinking and the way that you're feeling and the way that you're doing things, rather than what it is that you're doing and what it is that's happening. And it's like so hard to explain. I do feel like this book, Existential Kink, might resonate with some of you if you haven't heard of it already. But yeah, it's like there's some I feel like there's some deep, like, esoteric truths that are kind of being revealed to you at this time, or like you're asking questions about at this time. Some of you might feel like you're a little bit haunted by the mysteries of the universe, to be honest. And that could be what's really haunting you. It's like I feel like there's like some of you thought you understood it. You thought you understood how like life works, and then like you're having a bit of an existential crisis. And it might be more subconscious because you're kind of like, you might be experiencing some anxiety and you're like not really sure where it's coming from. And some of it might be coming from this like existential crisis of like, oh, I thought I had it figured out, but maybe I don't. But then what is the truth? You know, like a little bit of, ooh, yeah, it could be that. And it's, and I feel like it's making you both indecisive and unsure when it comes to like what you are creating in life and how to go about it. And also for some of you, what you even want to create. Like, what do you even want out of life? Interesting. Okay. So that sounds like you. Let's dig deeper into that and find out how we can resolve this, how we can release whatever, like this haunting existentialism, this self-sabotage as well, because I do feel like self-sabotage is a big element of this. So how can we release this? So how can group 2 release what is haunting them? How can group 2 release what is haunting them? Judgment, number 20. Can you see that? Yeah, okay. How can group 2 release what is haunting them? 9, the Hermit. Wow, all major arcana so far, just like group 1 also had a bunch of major arcana, different ones. But how can group 2 release what is haunting them? How can group 2 release what is haunting them? 3 of Coins. Yeah, that's giving me Empress vibes, even though we already have the Empress here. Oh. Working together. Okay, how can group 2 release what is haunting them? The Star. Oh, another major arcana. Okay. And how can group 2 release what is haunting them? 2 cards together. 6 of Coins and 7 of Swords. 7 of Swords being reversed. Okay. Bottom of the deck is 9 of Swords. So yeah, there could be some anxiety that's coming along with this. But I'm actually not feeling called to like read that card. I do feel like that's confirming that this, whatever's haunting you is causing you quite a bit of anxiety. And I did feel that for this group. Maybe not like to intense degrees for everyone, but there is some anxiety here. Okay. So how can group 2 release this like sort of self-sabotage, like existential dread that's haunting them around manifestation, around creation, around spirituality? Judgment, the Hermit, 3 of Coins, the Star, 6 of Coins, 7 of Swords reversed, those 2 being together. I'm going to... Okay, well, with the Judgment card, seeing that book there, again, I'm being called to reference that book, Existential Kink, but there might be other books. So there might be a book out there. If there's a book you've been called to read, especially if it's like spiritually related, but it doesn't have to be directly about that. It could even be like a fictional book. Sometimes books just happen to, like, I've had the experience of like, especially when I've been going through maybe my own existential crisis, the experience of feeling like whenever I pick up a book, it has like a message for me, and like feeling like whatever I'm reading happens to relate in some way to whatever I'm going through in my life. And you might be in that kind of phase where you're like being called to explore yourself deeper, explore life deeper. And so there's certain books that might be calling to you. And I would say, don't hesitate, like check them out and just know that like even if you don't agree with everything in a book, there might be just like even like one nugget that's a key for you. So don't overthink it. Just see what it has to offer you. Yes. And with the Hermit and the Three of Coins together, it's really interesting because the Hermit and the Star, both to me almost give a little bit of isolated energy. But the Hermit, there's a lot of going within, right? Literally hermiting yourself. I feel like for some of you, there is this need to not isolate yourself in like an unhealthy way, because we do have the Three of Coins here, and the Three of Coins is often about working together. So I feel like there's this need for you to potentially pull back a bit, and like if you say are used to going out a lot and being around a lot of people all the time and you're rarely in your own energy, now is not the time for that. It's time to be more in your own energy, but not like completely cutting people out of your life altogether and like not seeing anyone, because with the Three of Coins, like I feel like there are people who you can work with, or who you are working together with, and who might have similar questions about life or similar experiences to you, who might be driven to explore deeply in the same way that you are, and you're being called to focus on those people and work together with those people. And again, like, maybe pull your energy back in, but not completely isolate yourself. Because I do feel like there are people who have similar, who you might be able to have like deeper conversations with, who you might be able to explore yourself with on a deeper level, and like they as well. And you're being called towards those people at this time. Those people can help you work through whatever this is. Also, like some kind of, if there's like a sort of like some kind of organized or structured like group setting, like I don't know, like a support group, a spiritual group, a writing group, whatever it is that your situation is, that like where you feel, because I feel like there's a sense of feeling stuck or self-sabotagey. Like there might be like groups related to what you're going through, or like that can help you move towards your goals, of like-minded people that you can join. So that is also an important step to releasing this energy. And with the Star, that's to me about choosing optimism. It's choosing hope. It's choosing, especially if you're feeling like you're kind of caught up in like existentialism about like, well, what is the truth? What is true? Like, how does life really work? What is even the point? Like, why are we here? It's like choosing to trust or believe that whatever the answer is, it is a good one, that it's a hopeful one. Having optimism that no matter what the truth is, it is good. It is ultimately benevolent. And that goes back to also this idea of like, if you're into like manifestation, creating with the universe, like if you believe in like, the universe as this like living conscious being that we're all a part of, and you feel that strongly, believing in the benevolence of the universe, believing that it's always working with you and working for you, and that's always here for you, even when you can't feel it, even when you feel alone and isolated, and like things aren't working out. Choosing to believe, even with no evidence, or seemingly no evidence, that it is good and true, and building on that belief to start to recognize ways where you can turn your perspective around and recognize, okay, well, like what if we're assuming that, then what is the evidence that things are working out, that my manifestation is coming true, that the universe is benevolent, that life is ultimately good? Can I find that evidence? Can I find even the smallest shred of evidence around me? And I feel like that is because for some of you, this could be a bit of a deep dark kind of feeling. And that you might need, to me, it's like a gratitude practice almost, that brings you back to hope and optimism, that it's not going to be the only thing that helps you. Like, gratitude is not always the easiest thing or the best thing in the moment for you, or the only thing that you can do. But it is something that there are moments when it is the simplest thing to help bring you a little bit out of whatever funk you're in. And so sometimes that for you, I feel like is going to be an important practice, but I also feel like it's not always going to be the most important practice. Like it might not always be the thing, but it will sometimes be the thing. Interesting. And then with the Six of Coins and then Seven of Swords reversed under that, Six of Coins, it's with that Seven of Swords reversed, it's like giving without expectation. And it's giving without strategy, without expecting anything back, without manipulation or manipulative tendencies underneath it. And that, I feel, it's both a message if you feel like you engage in like maybe you struggle with giving from a genuine place of like feeling like of generosity, from a genuine place of feeling like I have enough and I'm just giving for the sake of like it feels good and I feel like I can really truly help people, and and whatever you're giving money, giving your time, giving your love, giving your attention, giving your creative skills, whatever it is, without expecting anything back, without needing anything back, but just for the sake of it. And maybe you have trouble doing that because maybe you are a bit used to feeling like you don't have enough. I feel like for those of you who are really caught up in the idea of creation and like not being able to create what you want, not being able to see your vision through, you have this mentality of not having enough, not being enough. And it makes it hard to then put something out there into the world without needing that validation back. And this is calling to attention that habit and pattern and saying that one way to release this like self-sabotaging existentialism that I feel, it's like I can't even like fully put a name on it because it's so like nebulous, but it's just like this energy that involves self-sabotage, and it involves like this existential question of like, how does life work, and am I doing the right thing, and what does that even mean? Like, it's like being in that energy, it stops you from creating, it stops you from following through on your vision, it stops you from, it causes you to even like sabotage your vision. And then you keep yourself perpetually stuck in not feeling like you have enough, not feeling like you're able to give of yourself without receiving validation, without receiving. And it's not that it's wrong to like want to receive in return for things. It's not that that's wrong, but it's more like it's coming from a place for you of feeling like you're not enough. And so if you do give out, then you need to receive back. And if you do, like, you need the validation, you need the comfort, you need like, and without that, like, it's not worth it. You're not worthy. Whatever you did isn't worthy. And it's one of those things where it's like you're being asked to look at it right now because the degree to which you're experiencing that energy in your life is part of what's stopping you. It's part of the sabotage. Is that like, it's like I'm getting like someone who posts something that they made, and when they don't receive the validation that they crave back, whether they consciously were craving it or not, it causes them to be like, I'll never post again, or I'll take it down. And this is not to shame that. This is not to say, oh, like, ooh, like subconsciously you're so like selfish and self-centered. You need like validation, which I feel like some of you like might actually take personally. But no, that's not what this is about at all. That's like a totally understandable thing. But because you're ready to release this energy within you, this habit or tendency is being called to attention because I feel like it's as simple as choosing to do the opposite of what you would normally do in the situation. So if that, in that posting situation, the next time you post something and it doesn't receive like the likes that you want or the attention that you want, instead of taking the post down, instead of just being like just so discouraged, you're like, I'm just not going to post or whatever, like you don't do that. Even if it's uncomfortable, even if you're just like, I can't stand it. I feel so embarrassed, or I feel so like ashamed, or I feel like, oh, people don't appreciate me anyway. It's like, instead of reacting out of those feelings of shame or spite or embarrassment, you feel it, you notice that it's there, and you're like, okay. But then you also choose to to leave it up, and you choose to post again, and you choose to do this no matter what the response is that you get, and you just do it for the sake of doing it because it's breaking that pattern, it's breaking that habit, and eventually it will become more comfortable for you, and eventually you will not have that experience anymore, and you won't be seeking that validation, but chances are the longer you stay putting yourself out there and the more you keep doing the thing, making the post, you will see results from it. It will be inevitable. And so, and it's really as simple as that. And I feel like this is a case where little adjustments that you make here and there in your mentality, in your actions, in your life, you might make multiple little adjustments in different areas of your life, but those will all come together to like sort of click things into place for you. And it doesn't have to be this big thing. It can be just as small as, okay, well, this time I'll post it and I won't take it down even if it doesn't get the response I need. And I'll have a regular schedule where I'll post my art or post my ideas or whatever. And, that's just one example. Of course, you can apply that sort of idea of like just consistency of giving without expectation to whatever area of your life that you feel has been impacted negatively by this sort of like this subconscious tendency, this mentality. And just see what happens, I do feel like this does boil down to, for this group, simply doing something different than you would have done before, wherever you feel stuck in your life, even if it's the smallest thing that you're doing slightly differently. And even if it makes you feel uncomfortable and you can only do like a slight change or slight shift at a time because you're so uncomfortable making this shift and finding those incremental steps you can take in a different direction, like that will change the momentum altogether. Like I feel like that will be all the difference for you. And whatever vision it is that you're looking to create or whatever it is that you're looking to come to fruition in your life will come through in due time. But like for you, you're really focusing, to release this, you're focusing more on the process than the outcome. Yeah. Context rather than content. Process rather than outcome. Yeah. That's what it's all about. So you're not prematurely like sabotaging yourself, stopping yourself because you don't see the, I feel like what this boils down to is like a situation where you have like a pattern you have of not seeing the outcome that you want as fast as you want, and just cutting yourself off of the path and changing your direction, changing what you're doing, when what you really need to do is stay in one place, is continue, is keep consistent with what you're doing and do it for the sake of doing it rather than for the sake of the outcome, because it's like the I don't know, the treasure was the friends that we made along the way, like, right? Like that's what it's about the journey, not the destination. Yes, but you will get to the destination. It's just you also have to learn to enjoy the journey as well. And I do feel like there's a level of perfectionism that's sabotaging you. And again, for some of you, this is coming from like a mother wound, or like your feminine energy, or like whatever resonates with you in terms of like a figure in your life, or like this ideal that you've been trying to fit that causes this idea of like this perfectionism, this needing to be right, to do exactly the right thing, to find the perfect way, when you're really just supposed to find your way, just be doing the thing, and that's perfect in and of itself, and it's like you don't see the perfection in how you're already doing things and how you are, and so you just never let yourself like shine. You never let it show through. And I think that's also what this Hermit card is about, is that like, again, like with the Three of Coins here, like there are people who can be constructive and work with you through this phase in your life. And now I'm being called to use the example of like a creative project, like being around other aspiring writers, if you're an aspiring writer, who are around the same level as you, and finding a group of people who actually are encouraging rather than maybe like catty or cutthroat. And with the Hermit, like removing yourself from energies, ideas, people who just like encourage this self-sabotaging behavior, this you're not good enough, take it down, how embarrassing, whatever, that ideology that makes you feel that energy, like, now that you are aware of it, like, cut down on that exposure and find things that are nurturing and constructive to your vision and focus on that for a while and see where that gets you. Yes. Okay, so with that being said, let's get some Moonology cards to close out. So group 2. How can you further clarify so we can close out how group 2 can, I'm going to take both of these cards, what's it called? can release what's haunting them. Okay, yeah. Okay, so we have, it's time to take action, new moon in Aries. What was I just saying about, like, doing the thing anyway, right? Like, yeah, I feel like you keep cutting off your actions that you're taking, and it's time to just do the thing. Just do the things and just see what happens, as opposed to trying to do the perfect thing. Yes. And then we have, personal issue reaches resolution. Full moon in Cancer. New moon to full moon. I feel like we had a new moon and then a full moon also in group 1. So yeah, like, new moon is like the beginning. Full moon is the culmination. So in the beginning, the first thing you do to release this, take action. And then as you continue just taking the action, just doing it for the sake of doing it, right? Posting it even if you don't get the response that you want. Just do it anyway. Take the action. Do. And it will culminate in this personal issue, this thing in your subconscious that's been stopping you to resolve. The discomfort that you might feel will resolve, and you'll end up with a completely different perspective on life, on yourself, and on what you're creating. And I can't even tell you exactly what that will look like, because you're going to discover it on this journey. But yeah, it's time to just do it. Just, like, fucking do it. I wasn't going to swear in this, but yeah. Just do it. Just do it. That's what this boils down to, honestly. Yeah, you're releasing this subconscious pattern of, like, just sabotaging your visions and trying to find the one perfect way instead of just finding a way and doing a thing. And you're not meant to do that right now. You're not meant to find the perfect way. You're not meant to find the way. You're meant to make the way. Make the way. And and you make the way by taking action. As simple as that. Could be one little action at a time, but just take an action in the direction of what you want, and a different action, or different than a reaction that you might have had in the past. Just in any small way, and that will work wonders. And the more consistently you can do that, you'll be surprised. You'll be surprised at how fast that builds for you and what you learn in the process. Because I feel like you've got big visions, big dreams. Yeah, you have the Empress is here. You have the capability to create them. You just got to do it and realize that it's no one is stopping you. The universe is not trying to stop you. You are stopping you, but you also have the power to not stop you. Like, you have the power, and it doesn't have to be so hard, and you don't have to immediately, like, take the biggest action or biggest leap of faith unless you feel super called to. You can just take little small actions and see how they build up, and it will be worth it. Yeah. You're growing out of this self-sabotage era. You are. You're ready. So, can't wait to see what you create. Excellent. Okay, so group 2, that's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope it resonated. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I would love to hear how this resonated for you. And if you're interested in personal readings, we do offer them on our website, sunflowerphilosophy.com, link in the description. And my mom and I are also hypnotists, and my mom does some human design. So if you want to check out those services, you can, again, check out the link in the description. Thanks again for watching. Have a wonderful life, and I will see you in another reading again sometime very soon. Bye! Hi, Group 3. If you selected the Milky Way, then you're in the right place, and this is your reading all about what is haunting you and what you can do about it, how you can release it and move on. So this could be something that's consciously haunting you, that you're thinking about, and we're going to start with figuring out what is haunting you with these cards here. So this could be a confirmation for you, or it could be something that's, like, maybe been a little bit more subconscious. Maybe it hasn't been at the forefront of your mind, but it's kind of been underlying some of your actions. And so this could bring some of that to the forefront. So keep an open mind, but trust your intuition. If it's going to resonate, you'll know. And yeah, just go from there. So with that being said, let's flip over these cards and figure out what's haunting you, and then we'll get into some tarot to figure out what you can do about it. So group 3, your Astro Oracle card is Leo, number 5, with Shine. Your tarot card is the Knight of Wands. And your quote card is this like sort of tree looking thing with don't turn away from possible futures before you're certain you don't have anything to learn from them. From Illusions by Richard Bach. Okay. What is haunting group 3? So with Leo and the Knight of Wands, I do feel like this has to do with pride, with your sense of pride in yourself, in maybe what you do. I'm getting the sense that you be someone who's a bit either outwardly or consciously prideful, or more subconsciously so, in such a way that you could be like someone who can come across as very brash and bold, and like I'm getting the sense of someone who, at least on the surface, you know, they know what they want, they know what they're about, and they go get it, and they go for it, and they do it. But I feel like the way in which this is haunting you a bit is I feel like pride is a double-edged sword, you know? You wanna have some pride in yourself and value yourself appropriately, and also take pride in what you do, and have a certain quality to your actions, which comes from often taking pride in yourself and what you do. You know, you don't half-ass something if you're proud of it. But on the other hand, pride can be something that keeps you from letting loose, exploring things that you wouldn't have thought of, because it could keep you small, it could keep you in a box, it could keep you from trying new things because you feel like you have this self-image to uphold, and certain things don't fit within that image. And I do feel like because this is something that's haunting you, there's some way in which this has been keeping you. It's weird because you don't come across as someone who plays small or who's meant to be small, but I feel like this pride has been keeping you small because you have such a, it's weird. You have such a strong sense of self, and yet at the same time, I do feel like it's stifled a bit. Because with this Knight of Wands energy and this Leo energy, I almost feel like this is like your drive, your capability, your bravery and courage. But there's like a defensiveness or even an aggression that it's weird because I'm getting like two almost opposite interpretations. And one is like someone who comes off as very aggressive because like if their pride is hurt, they're like very angry and like, and they lash out and they're in your face and they shut something down really fast because they're like, no, like you don't question me like that. Like almost getting like, and I'm not saying this is you. I'm not saying this is you at all. Maybe it is for some of you, but probably not for most of you. But I'm getting the example of like someone who, if like they're like say they're like a straight man and someone like questions their sexuality for a moment or like says something that like threatens their sexuality for a moment, and they lash out and they get really angry, you know, like, and they like get really like homophobic and stuff because like they have this idea of themselves as this one way, and anyone insinuating that it could possibly ever be another way, it's like it damages their pride so deeply because like they have this idea that it's only good to be a certain kind of way, and they are that person and they have to always uphold that image, you know? Which, again, doesn't have to actually be you, but it could be a metaphor for some area in your life where you are quite defensive and aggressive about defending your self-image. And on the other hand, I do feel like there's a group here that might not be like aggressive or lash out to defend their pride, but might defend their pride in a much more subtle, quiet way, where you might still be quick to shut certain things down or be like, no, this is who I am and I'm not that person. But even though it's like quieter, not aggressive or anything, it's still very firm. And like that doesn't have to be a bad thing. You can have strong boundaries around who you are and what you want to be if that works for you. But I feel like, again, in this case, it's keeping you small and it's keeping you from some kind of possibility that you want to explore or future that you want to explore. Or it's keeping you from a myriad of different possibilities and from being open to the myriad of different possibilities in life. Yeah, like I'm getting this sense of like a really strong sense of self, someone who's really prideful, brave even if you're brave in a quiet way. I do feel like there are a lot of big personalities here, and a big personality either is like a lot of you I think are really out there and just like, yeah, like this is me. But then a lot of you again are like, this is me, but like it could be quieter, because I do feel like you do have the potential to be much more like bigger, or like have much more of a presence, or you automatically have a presence, but you don't always claim it because you don't want to. It's almost like, for those of you for whom you resonate with being like on the quieter side, you're less like out there in your face. It's almost like you, like part of your persona that you're trying to uphold is like this more mysterious, quieter person. And that's part of your pride. Like you pride yourself in that, being that kind of person, and you might have some strong judgments around people who are a bit the opposite of that. And again, that might be keeping you from exploring different avenues, whether in your personal life, just in your personality, or like even in like the job you do, because you're just like, no, I'm this person and I'm not that, and I have to. It all comes down to public persona, how you're perceived, how people see you, and you want to be seen as like, oh, in one way, one specific way. But it's holding you back from trying something that you actually want, that's in your heart, that's connected to your heart, or being a different kind of person. Yeah, it's like there's an attachment to public image, there's an attachment to how other people see you, that is keeping you from exploring something that you actually do want to explore, that would actually be valuable for you to explore. That's what it feels like. All right, group 3. So let's because I do feel like, a healthy sense of self and sense of pride, and even a strong sense of identity, if you have one, isn't necessarily inherently a bad thing. But we want to find out how, because I do feel, again, like there's a difference between when it's coming from a healthy place and an unhealthy place. And while there might be an element of it that is healthy in you, we don't want to eradicate that completely. We want to see how we can address the maybe unhealthy ways in which this is manifesting for you, so that you can move forward and maybe feel freer to explore the past that you want to explore, be the person that you want to be. So group 3, how can group 3 release what is haunting them? We have the 2 of coins. How can group 3 release what is haunting them? We have the 4 of wands. Lots of fire energy here. You might have some important Leo placements or fire placements in general, but you don't have to. How can group 3 release what is haunting them? The Emperor, number 4. And I just got the NFL theme in my head. Like I just started humming it. Like, or I don't know what network it is for though. Like, cause there's different ones. It's like do 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 do. It's like it brought to mind the NFL though. It brought to mind football, National Football League in America. So like American football. So that could be a confirmation for some of you. Again, there's that aggression, that pride. Now I'm getting like, God, like I'm getting like Travis Kelce, or like someone who maybe has moments of like road rage, not to insinuate anything about like steroids. That's the terminology that came to me. So, but like, yeah, rage. Yeah, like a brashness, a boldness. Again, that like posturing, that like male posturing, I gotta be tough and strong, blah. And that doesn't even have to be you, but there's like that, again, like the sense of pride that doesn't have to be inherently a bad thing, but can cross the line, right? Can cross the line into a limiting factor, becoming a limiting factor of like, I can only be seen as this one thing, and if I'm seen any other way, then I'm weak. But maybe I maybe I'm like, oh, I'm a tough guy, but like, I want to paint my nails. But if I did, then people would think I wasn't tough anymore. They'd think I'm like effeminate, and I'm not that, because it's wrong to be that. And it's like, whoa, buddy, maybe question some of that internalized misogyny there. Internalized, even if you are a man, you can have, because we all we all have all aspects in us, all right? We all have femininity and masculinity, and like, who's to say that we haven't all been men and women and all different kinds of genders and all of our different lives, like, right? Like, so, but anyway, yeah, and you know what? Okay, so I do feel like for a lot of you, it is what I've been saying, that there's a sense of pride that might be keeping you limited or keeping your identity in one place where you might want to explore other ones. Ooh, and I'm also getting like the idea of like gender identity or sexual orientation. Like, again, like that could be for some of you a very literal interpretation of like exploring outside of your sexuality in a way that you weren't comfortable with and you feel like ruins your persona, but it's true to your heart. But it's also, I'm also getting like a kind of different interpretation where what's haunting you is some of your prideful tendencies, your maybe more aggressive or out there tendencies that you haven't fully embraced yet, that you feel like, and your desire for like a certain self-image or certain kinds of validation that you might be very aware of and you might be very uncomfortable with. So it could also be haunting you, not because it's necessarily a bad thing, but because you think it's a bad thing and you can only see the bad ways in which it might manifest, but you might not see all the benefits to it as well. So there's also that interpretation that's coming through a little late, but it's there. Okay. Let's just get to the last few of your cards here. 8 of coins, and then one more card. How can they... Okay. 4 of cups. Okay. 2 of coins, the Emperor, 8 of coins, 4 of cups. Bottom of the deck, Page of Cups. But I actually don't feel called to necessarily read that one, so I'm going to stick with the ones that we have here. It just depends. Sometimes I feel called to, sometimes I don't. So, 2 of coins. Okay, first of all, with the 2 of coins coming out, I'm getting, like, the idea of, like, 2 identities, juggling 2 different parts of yourself. Also, like, this idea of, like, growing in 2 different directions. For some of you, it might be time to accept that you and a certain identity or a certain person or a certain activity or even a certain place in your life are growing in 2 different directions, and it's okay to let that continue. It's okay to keep growing in your own direction. Do not align your growth with someone else's if it's just not meant to be aligned, just for the sake of holding on to them or holding on to that past, that place. Do not do that. I'm getting that really strong. So that does make sense with this idea of having a really strong kind of identity, but also attachment to your self-image to the point where, like, I'm getting, like, the example of someone who, again, like, maybe you want to explore your identity in different ways that someone else in your life doesn't agree with or doesn't resonate with, and they've always known you in one way, and they might prefer you in that way, and you're like, well, I'm growing into a different kind of person, so I want to explore that. And it's okay. There's nothing wrong with you realizing that you're different and realizing that someone else might not be so aligned with that path anymore because they're going in a different direction. Or maybe even very literally, like, they want to take a job somewhere, like, far away in a different place, and you're growing more attached to, like, this place where you live currently, or a different city, or whatever. And it's like, that's okay. It's not that you are wrong or they're wrong. You just want different things, and it's okay to accept that. With the 4 of Wands, that speaks of harmony. So again, I'm getting this idea of like pulling seemingly disparate or different parts of yourself into harmony. Even when it comes to if there's like a person or something that you don't like resonate with, or an idea or something, like, or not that you don't resonate with. It's like if you find yourself growing in two different like these two rosebuds might be growing in two different directions, but they're on the same stem. So they're still in the same place. They're just also two separate entities. Like, so again, this can be about accepting two seemingly separate parts of you, but they're still growing from you. They're still from the same stem. This is accepting your, it's accepting your multidimensionality. Being like, yeah, I can be this, and I can be this. I can be super macho, tough guy, and I can paint my nails. You know? Like that kind of thing. And that might come across as a little bit of a simplistic example, but I'm sure you can apply that to many different perspectives in your life and actual scenarios. And it's bringing that into harmony. And it's like, okay, these candles might be all different shapes and sizes, for example, but they all give off the same light. And it's like you might have all different kinds of faces and attitudes and ways of being, but you still give off the same light. It's like, oh yeah, like the essence of you, like Leo also like shining out, like you, it's like about you, like shining out your personal power and being you and being authentic to yourself. And it's like no matter what face you wear, no matter what you look like, you're still shining out the same light. So if you want to try on a different persona, a different identity, on like have fun with it, explore it, and know that there's still some essence of you that is you, and it will never change. It's immutable. But you're able to change the wrapper, you're able to change the container, you're able to change the expression, but the light, the essence of your light is still the same. And anyone who can't see that, you know, that's their problem. And with the Emperor here, you're in charge of your life. You're your own daddy. I don't know why I said that. That's literally just what came through. So I'm assuming for someone here that like is like a little inside joke or something, like, or resonates with you in a funny kind of way. But like the Emperor is like, you're in charge of your own life. You create your own structure. Like these 2 4s here as well, like very solid and stable. And it's like you can be solid and stable as a person and also wear many different hats and be many different kinds of people and like many different kinds of things that seem to maybe from a certain perspective not be able to coexist, where you're like, actually they do coexist. Actually, like this is all me and it all makes up the same person. And so how you are learning, how you are releasing this thing that's haunting you is actually not by releasing it and banishing it, moving on from it, but from embracing it and embracing the positive aspects of it and releasing your reliance on just only this one aspect though, and embracing all the different aspects of yourself. With the 8 of coins, you know what? I'm feeling like this might take some work. There might be some effort involved in creating this new... Because I do feel like there's some kind of new path involved, some kind of new identity that you want to try that will take some work, will take some time and focus. And maybe you might be avoiding, actually, with the 4 of Cups here, it's like avoiding the work, avoiding the... And in this case, like, I feel like it could be self-work, really. Avoiding looking at it, avoiding actually doing it, like, do the work to integrate this part of yourself, to accept this part of yourself, but no more. No more. We're no longer avoiding this. Like, it's kind of like you can't. Actually, I mean, I feel like you can, but it's going to get harder and harder to do until you probably finally reach a place where you can't anymore. And there might be some people who do turn away from the choices that you make. There might be some people who don't want to see even maybe all the work that you've done, who want to ignore it or who aren't ready to do that work with you. and you're being encouraged to do it anyway. Like, there's really, like, if anything, what you're letting go of is this attachment to your self-image in relation to other people and keeping other people happy and how you look to other people, to the extent that you were focused on that. It's like, yeah, you can be like flamboyant, or you can want to give off a certain kind of persona and explore different kinds of identities and come across a certain way to other people. But if it's keeping you, if it's to your detriment, if it's keeping you small, if it's restricting you from like trying all the things that you want to try, like branching out and just being a freer person, then why are those people worth your like respect in the first? Like, why is it worth holding on to their respect if you're not being respected for something that you actually respect? You know what I mean? And that's kind of what I feel like is going on here. It's like, if there are people in your life who really would turn away from you, embracing these different parts of yourself, then they're not. Why are they worth it? Are they worth it for you? And also, wouldn't you give them the chance to actually embrace the true you, to go through the process of doing that work? Yeah, you know what it is? I feel like for some of you, you've been around, like, if there's some kind of self-work or self-development that you need to do in order to sort of evolve into like the person you want to be and try out the different timelines or like experiences that you want to try out, or just feel freer as a person, you need to stop courting the approval of people who are avoiding that work themselves. And that doesn't mean you're necessarily going to lose them from your life. It doesn't mean that they'll avoid it forever. Maybe you will kick off a whole wave of people in your life who want to embrace that. Maybe people will still like the new you, or respect the work that you're doing on yourself, right? Like I'm getting like someone who's like, I'm too cool to like go to therapy and like, figure out myself, or, I don't need that, or, I'm not the kind of person who does that, because like maybe they're around friends who like say the same thing and they're just like, I don't know what that's about, or they think that their friends will judge them. And it's like, but it's not cool anymore, right? Like, it's not actually like, you're not like, I don't think this is actually going to get me where I want to go. And like, it's not worth, like, if your friends are like a little confused by what you're doing, or they're just like, ew, like self-work, like couldn't be me. And if you can't make the same jokes anymore because you're like, no, actually that's what I want to do and who I want to be, like, is it worth just like being able to make the same old jokes? Is it worth being like holding on to this identity that you don't actually believe in and that you aren't really like satisfied with? Like, I don't think so. I'm not getting that sense from you. So let me close it out with some moon cards then for our Leos here. Well, we have a new romantic cycle begins. New moon in Libra that popped out. And what else? We have surrender to the divine, full moon. Okay, well, and new moon in Leo on the bottom. Just because Leo is here, literally, confidence is your key to success. Lions, Jesus. Okay, yeah. Confidence is your key to success, but we have, more importantly here, these two cards, which I think in every group so far, there's been like a new moon on the right and a full moon on the left. Crazy. And that's like a beginning and then a culmination. Crazy. So we have a new romantic cycle begins and surrender to the divine. New moon in Libra. Okay. Well, a new romantic cycle begins could be very literally about a romantic cycle. I'm going back to that concept of like someone who's like maybe wanting to explore their gender identity or like sexuality a bit. So it's like that could be very literal for some of you. That's very literal, and it's like a new romantic cycle begins because like you're actually like trying out a new kind of romantic relationship, and you're just being like, I'm gonna see how this goes. I'm gonna explore this part of myself. But it can also be like you're tapping in, no matter what your situation is, you tapping into something more authentic opens up the possibility for a new romantic cycle with either someone new in your life or like a new start within a relationship that's existing in your life, like a renewal of a deeper romance or a new chapter in your life with your current romantic partner, something like that. But also, a new romantic cycle begins, it feels like your whole relationship with the world, yourself, and other people is shifting and changing by you stepping into something that feels more authentic to you, that feels more, again, embracing of your multifacetedness, like the possibility to meet different kinds of people on a deeper level, to deepen your relationships no matter what the nature of them is. It feels like that's really what this is about. And with surrender to the divine full moon, it's like a surrender to like there's a sense of control here in like, again, like this idea of like needing to control your self-image, feeling like you need to like control your actions and things to reflect a certain persona that you want to put on. Surrendering to the divine is like the opposite of that. It's like letting go of needing to be any one particular kind of person and surrendering to the person that you actually are, which is maybe a little bit more complex than the person that you were trying to portray. And maybe you're just okay with that. Surrendering to the divine is like trusting that you are who you are for a reason, and who you are, maybe you don't even have a full picture of that because you can't see yourself from the outside, and you can't see yourself from the perspective of, you know, the divine, God, the universe, or from other people in your life. And so you'll never have a full picture of like who you are in all different contexts and circumstances, and maybe you need to just let go of the control of imagining that you do and trying to control that and just live your damn life. That's what this is about. Yeah. Anything else? Yeah, no, this is really about like embracing your multifacetedness, doing your self-work that you've been avoiding, releasing your control over your image to a certain extent, and embracing, you know, the aspects of you where like, yeah, your pride and boundaries are not inherently bad, but whatever is limiting you from being all the different kinds of you that you can be, that needs to go. That needs to go. You can adjust for that. And if it has to do with people in your life, yeah, like there are new people waiting for you, or a new start waiting for you with people in your life that will be even better because it will be you, with you finally being your full true self and embracing more of who you are. And last message that I'm tacking on here is I'm getting the sense that like the way that this sort of pride self-image thing has been haunting you has been in like being extra self-critical, being, again, like really defensive in some cases, shutting down possibilities and opportunities out of fear of it threatening that image that you have of yourself and that others might have of you. And it's like there's a self-criticalness, there's a self-centeredness almost that is lightening up a bit, you know? Again, like even some self-centeredness and things like that is not bad inherently. There's a balance that you want to strike, but it's like there's a self-centeredness that also like it's bad for you. Like in that you know, seeing yourself as like it's all on me to cultivate this specific persona and shine it out to the world, and I'm in full control of who I am and how people perceive me. And it's like, that's not true. Like, not in the way that you think it is, right? And you actually have more control when you release control. And so you're learning that, and you're growing. And I feel like it's like an immature version of this pride is now maturing into something stronger. It's like yeah, it's almost like you're not really releasing this, like this thing that's haunting you is actually, it's not, you're not releasing the thing, you're releasing any immaturity or old outdated kind of beliefs and energies around it, and growing into someone who uses that power within yourself in a way that is more beneficial to yourself and to others. In whatever way that makes sense for you. So that being said, group 3, that is all I have for you. So I hope you enjoyed that. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I would love to hear how this resonated for you. And if you're interested, we do offer personal readings on our website, sunflowerphilosophy.com, link in the description. My mom and I are hypnotists as well, and my mom does human design readings. So if you are interested in any of that, link in the description. Thanks again for watching. Have a wonderful life, and I will see you in another reading again sometime very soon. Bye! Hi, Group 4. If you selected the Skittles, then you're in the right place, and this is your reading all about what is haunting you and what you can do about it. So, what's haunting me right now is the fact that someone just started leaf blowing outside, and I hope you can't hear that. If you can, I'm sorry, and I hope this comes through, and I'm just gonna do it because I really want to I really want to get into your reading. So, group 4. I just want to say, first of all, these cards will represent what is haunting you, and then we'll get more cards to find out what you can do about that, how you can let go, whatever it is. But if there's something that, you have on your mind specifically that you've been focusing on, this can serve as a confirmation for that, that this is your right group. Or if not, this could be something more like subconscious. It could be something that's being brought to your mind that you'll intuitively kind of feel like, oh wait, that makes sense for me. But it could be something that maybe you're not focusing on right now. Maybe you're like, I don't know, something's been bothering me, but I don't really know what it is that's haunting me. Or it's like an overarching thing that's been with you for a long time that's been haunting you, and you aren't even fully aware of what that is. So it could be something like that as well. But we'll see. Let's get into it. I'm going to flip these cards over and we'll find out. So for group 4, what is haunting you? We have an Astro Oracle card, which is Pallas Athena with Think, number 30. We have your tarot card, which is the Emperor, number 4. We have 2 quote cards. So we have one with this imagery on it that says, a guy that'll really listen to you, listen and care about what you're saying is something rare, from The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton. And we have this card here, which says, expectations were like fine pottery. The harder you held them, the more likely they were to crack, from The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. And it's interesting. So there's a group where we actually had the Empress as the tarot card. I think that was group 2. So maybe there's some related messages there for you, or maybe it's just a coincidence, but, or maybe someone important to you also has a group in this reading. But I am getting something quite specific for this group. I'm feeling like for a lot of you, what's haunting you is either a father figure or important masculine energy in your life. And like something that it has to do with feeling unheard by them, unseen by them, and maybe also feeling like you had a lot of expectations placed upon you by them. And it could be, I'm saying like father literally for some of you, but it could be father figure. It could be like almost like the patriarchal structure of society, maybe the patriarchy, this idea of like masculinity, femininity, and what those all mean, and the social expectations for it. Like that could also be like at large the thing that's haunting you. But it could also be literally like your father or any masculine figure who's played an important role in your life. Again, when it comes to being listened to, like I feel like there's a sense of like feeling like a guy that'll really listen to you, listen and care about what you're saying is something rare, is like almost how you think about, it could be men or it could be like even just people in general. But it could be like feeling like, or it could be like the specific figure in your life, feeling like you weren't heard or listened to or seen by them. Feeling like that it's rare to feel like someone actually cares about what you're saying, to feel like it's rare that someone cares about what you're thinking, because maybe you have like this childhood experience of not really being listened to, and it could be related to your gender in one way or another. But also this idea of like expectations, not being able to meet expectations. I'm getting the specific scenario of like a girl being born into a family where they really wanted a boy and not being able to meet the expectations of, being a male child because they're not. And also like maybe they don't want to do certain, or being a boy who's not able to meet certain ideals of what is expected of them in terms of their gender. Yeah, there's some way in which you feel like you didn't meet someone's expectations in your life, someone who's important to you, and you didn't feel listened to. You felt like there was there's a feeling of like a lot of expectations other people put on you without really listening to what you actually want and what you actually think and who you actually are. Yeah, which is interesting. It's more straightforward than a lot of the other groups have been, actually. And because I feel like this could have come to you in many different ways or it could manifest in your life now in many different ways. But, like, this underlying experience is very, like, I think in some way, shape, or form, like, this is what it's about. It's not like, I'm not getting, like, a bunch of different specific scenarios where it's like, well, it could be this or it could be that. It's like, I feel like this happened to you in some ways, like anyone who's in this group. I do want to just, I'm getting, with Pallas Athena and Think, I am getting like that idea of like a masculine feminine energy or something, like someone who's trying to put on, to be tough, like, oh, like I'm the only girl in a bunch of brothers, so I gotta be tough, you know what I mean? Like, and maybe you didn't get to connect as much with your feminine aspect, or you have like a lot of judgment for femininity because of that. Yeah. And this doesn't have to be specifically about gender, but again, there's a sense of just not meeting expectations, not being who someone else wanted you to be, and them not really caring about who you really are, but just caring about like an image of you, of like what you should be. I'm just going to look at Pallas Athena. Pallas Athena speaks of a sharp and guarded intellect. Mythological Athena is the goddess of wisdom, intellect, skill, strategy, and defense. Her father Zeus swallowed her mother Metis, goddess of wise counsel and planning, possibly to hide her from his spouse Hera. Athena gave her father a pounding headache, then leapt fully grown and completely armored from her father's forehead. This powerful goddess could beat the males at their own game and challenge the world to never underestimate feminine strength and wisdom. Okay, yeah, so like, I like forgot what Pallas Athena was even really about, but everything that it just said there is basically what I was just saying about all the other cards. So like, cool. Yeah. So, case in point, all right? So with that being said, I'm so sorry. I don't mean to make light, by the way. This could be something that's really painful for you. I'm not making light. I do get a little giddy when like the cards just flow together so well and like the message is so clear, and that is true for this group. And I feel like this is a group that appreciates something straightforward and quite simple. So maybe not all of you, but a lot of you I feel like are like, yeah, like I'm down with that. So hopefully you also appreciate how that all came together as well. But yeah, no, this could be something that's really like, even if this person or this dynamic really isn't prevalent in your life now, it could still have an impact on your self-image, on what you believe you're capable of, and on how important that you believe you are in the world and in other people's lives. So let's find out how you can release this thing that's haunting you. How can you release this feeling of like not meeting expectations, of not being listened to, of not being seen for who you really are, maybe having to put on a tough exterior, maybe having to just put on a face that wasn't quite yours to try to meet someone's expectations of you. How can you release this? How can group 4 release what's haunting them, please? How can group 4 release what's haunting them? We have the 8 of Swords. How can group 4 release what is haunting them? We have the 9 of Coins. How can group 4 release what is haunting them? We have Justice. How can group 4 release what is haunting them? We have the Queen of Cups. And one more card. We have the 2 of Wands in reverse. This is upright or reverse? Yeah, reverse. Okay. 4 of Coins on the bottom of the deck. And I'm actually going to keep this one in there. I haven't for all of them, but it feels relevant. So, because I feel like the 4 of Wands is like the underlying result of this thing that's haunting you, the thing that's haunting you is like a feeling of feeling restricted, of restricting yourself, feeling restricted in who you can be, who you are. It's almost like the inverse of actually group 3, like the last group that I just read, had a similar kind of thing about like being restricted by their own pride. And I feel like in your case, this actually comes from like, again, like an external source of like not being listened to, not being respected for who you really are, not being understood, not meeting certain expectations. Maybe, and with the 8 of Swords, first of all, here, okay, how you release this, you start by recognizing with the 8 of Swords here that any expectations that were put on you by someone else are what you're now putting on yourself. And it's taking a certain amount of responsibility for that. No matter what role someone else played in this for you, it is recognizing that it is within your power to get out of that, to release yourself from that. You do not have to hold yourself to the same standards that someone else held you to. You do not have to keep yourself in this mentality that no one actually wants to see the real me, no one cares about me, no one wants to hear what I have to say, I can never meet anyone else's expectations. You don't have to live in that anymore. That is an illusion, and that is something that the person who originally put that in your mind might not even be in your life anymore. So it's really up to you to begin to undo that and to recognize that it's self-imposed, these limitations now. With the 9 of coins here, that's about recognizing your own worth and beauty. Like, oh my God, this beautiful rose, that's you. And I feel like you also have, I feel like I'm getting the sense in this group, you're quite accomplished, or you have a lot going for you. And I feel like it's hard for you to see it because you might have gotten there through a lot of squashing yourself and a lot of like not really appreciating yourself and never seeing yourself as enough, never seeing what you have as enough and who you are as enough. And I mean, yeah, it seems like pretty obvious, but like we're releasing that now. Like, you are this 9 of coins, this beautiful rose that is so much more than whatever the persona is that you had to put on for like other people in your life, or that you thought you had to put on for society. You're so much more than that. With justice, I mean, this is about fairness, being fair to yourself first of all, because you're the only person that you can fully control and rely on to be fair to you. You can't really control anyone else. But with justice here, there is an element of like, if there's lingering, like, one reason why you might have had trouble letting this go in the past, why this might still be haunting you, is there could be a sense of resentment in terms of, and I'm especially thinking of this in like from the perspective of like, say this is about like patriarchy, like this is a gender thing, men versus women, and a feeling of being put down for femininity and needing to reclaim, your sovereignty is to be who you are and to accept all the facets of you and to accept femininity as part of you, no matter what your gender is. Perhaps there is a lot of resentment and a lot of feeling like this has been unfair, and the people or person or a structure that put this on me like doesn't know what it's like to feel that way, and like they need to feel that way and they need to understand. And it's like not being able to let go because there's this feeling of like needing to bring justice, needing vengeance, needing this, needing that, needing to see that the other person suffers for what they did. And while that's an understandable perspective, it's a situation where I feel like you don't really have control over that outcome. Like, it's not necessarily going to happen the way that you want it to happen. Justice is the idea that like karmically things actually do get taken care of, in the sense that, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to impose my own beliefs on others, but I feel like, well, that's not what I'm doing. I'm just offering a perspective, really, is what this is all about. So, yeah, what am I even saying? I do feel like I have the perspective that sometimes someone being who they are in a way that can be hurtful to other people, and like a lot of times someone who's like deliberately hurting other people, behaving in a way that hurts other people, like them being who they are is quote unquote punishment enough. I do feel like there's another way to look at like the concept of punishment and whether anything needs to be punished, or how that even works in the universe, whatever. But like I do feel like sometimes it's just like them being that person is bad enough for them. Like don't cut off your nose to spite your face is what I'm feeling here. Like, don't be focused on this person's outcome, this person's life, this person's experience more than your own. Because then you're still focused on them and you're not focused on you. And that was the whole problem, right? Was that this person or this entity was more focused on their own empowerment than yours at the expense of yours. Don't give them that same, don't continue to feed that for them. Start to feed into your own empowerment more than their disempowerment. That doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with, like, you know, hoping that they understand what they actually put you through one day, or hoping that they experience something in a way that they can understand the other side of the coin, you know, get their just desserts, as it were. But you cannot be focusing on that to the detriment of yourself if you want to live outside the box that they first placed you in. Stepping out of the box means placing less focus on them, on the external, and more focus on you. Who you are, who you want to be, your power. And feeding more of your energy to you. And that might not seem like the most satisfying thing at first, but it is the most satisfying thing in the long run. And also, like, there's an element of trust the universe to take care of the situation. Like, this person, yeah, it depends on your situation. I don't know that for all of you there is a specific person who wronged you in a certain way, and I don't know exactly what the situation is, but there is this element of, like, I do feel like if it's a situation where, like, someone does need to be, like, literally brought to justice, and there's, like, some way that, like, you can be involved in that in a way that is empowering to you, also, by all means, yes, like, take that path. But if that's not available to you, if that's not open to you, or that's not applicable to your situation, but there is some resentment still towards, like, some unfairness that you experienced, that's when you need to turn your energy more towards your own empowerment and less towards this situation, right? And that's going to depend on your situation. Like, it's really down to what is the most empowering thing for you, and in what way are you taking your power back for you. And if that involves bringing some kind of justice on someone, that's one thing. But if that's not really how that situation is going to work out, that's not available, or that's not something that really makes sense for this situation, then it is more about bringing your attention from the external, from the person or the organization or the societal structure, and more towards your own building up and boosting up your own energy, your own, like, your own inner validate, like, your own truth, like, who you really are, which is incredibly powerful and valuable. And in seeing that with your own eyes. With the Queen of Cups here, your intuition, the Queen of Cups can also be, like, I feel like embracing your more feminine, intuitive side, whatever side of you that you feel was disowned, that was not appreciated, that was not seen, that you had to shut away. And it doesn't have to be, like, specifically your feminine side. I feel like for a lot of you it will have to do with, like, more feminine coded things, like intuition, like nurturing, like compassion, even though, like, that, we all have that, and we should all have that within us. That's, like, the more feminine coded things that are associated maybe with the Suit of Cups, which is the water element, which is feminine, and the Queen, which is the feminine element of that. But again, like, it could be whatever in you was suppressed, and getting more in touch with that, having compassion for that part of you, tapping into your compassion for yourself. With the Two of Wands here, Two of Wands reversed. When it's the Two of Wands upright, I often see that about like seeing the bigger picture and getting a plan together for what you're gonna do, like, in the long run, like an action plan of some kind. In reverse, I almost feel like it's releasing the need to have a plan, the need to have a structure, the need to like map out exactly who you are and who you're meant to be. Either in the sense of like, in the way where I feel like there's a sense that people in this group have constructed themselves very carefully to be a certain person that they were, because they were trying to please someone, right? Or a structure or society or whatever, or because they felt like this is who I have to be, I have no other choice, right? So it's like releasing yourself from that plan, that structure, like that structured way of seeing yourself, of like acting in a certain kind of way. Or it's releasing yourself from structuring your life and your persona in retaliation to the idea of who you had to be. Either way, you're not having such a you're not planning your life around either adhering to this false self or combating this false self. You're instead restructuring how you even... You're restructuring your life outside of the context of this person, these expectations that you ever had to meet. Like, so yeah, so you're not... maybe you've experienced that pendulum swing of like, on the one hand, you started off really trying to be this person that you were expected to be, and then the pendulum swung the other way and you were like really trying to rebel against that and like be the opposite of that. And now you are taking yourself out of that context altogether, because in your new way of being, you value yourself for your whole self. You remove yourself from the restrictions that were placed upon you by this person, because either way you're kind of playing into those hands, right? Either way you're living your life based on that person or based on that structure, based on those expectations, either subverting them or living by them. And you're removing yourself from that entirely, and you're living your life from the new context of, I don't need to base my life on any of this. Who am I without any of that? Without being that person or being anti that person. You know what I mean? And with the 4 points here, again, like, this is about breaking your bonds, breaking the expectations that you place on yourself one way or another, whether these were expectations planted there by someone else or expectations you developed in retaliation to the external. And it's just because maybe you've tried both, maybe you've explored both, maybe you've been on both sides of the coin, and you've exhausted that for yourself, and you are ready to be something that's more authentic to you, that is not a reaction to anything or anyone outside of you, because you've taken the elements of both sides of that experience and picked and you've been able to pick through and determine like what from both sides of that experience feel like you and what doesn't, and form something new from that, and also remove yourself from that dichotomy, that box altogether, and start to explore opportunities and options and identities outside of that framework altogether. If that makes sense. Huh. Okay. So group 4, let's just get a couple of moon cards to close out this reading. So group 4's, what are group 4's moon cards? How can we close out this reading? We have time to give rather than take. And we have show the world the real you. Yeah. Okay. This is really cool, guys. In every single group, and I was wondering if it would happen in this group too. Unless I think I'm right. Unless I'm wrong about group 1, but I'm pretty sure in every single group, the first moon card we got has been a new moon, and the second moon card we've got has been a full moon. Crazy. We love that. Like a cycle, like the new moon, the beginning, the full moon, the culmination. So we have a time to give rather than take. New moon in Virgo. I feel like I'm getting a sense of like giving to yourself Um, I'm getting giving in like a, even though it's Virgo and that's an earth sign and that can be very tangible. So it could be about specifically like about self-care or giving care to others, maybe participating in service. I'm getting like for someone who has been existing very much in opposition to, oh, it's like if someone's been, so we're zooming out to like the kind of societal structure version of this reading. It's like, okay, I've been living very opposed to the patriarchy, but maybe I switch my focus from opposition to how, from opposing this thing to how can I give to the people who need it most. Oh, one of our candles went out. All right. It's giving. It's like instead of focusing so much on opposing these people, this thing, whatever. It's like, what can I cultivate and grow and give to that I want to see more of, that I want to experience more of, that I value more of, that I feel like will help more people. So it's time to give rather than take. So instead of trying to take away from the thing that you hate, you are feeding and giving to the things that you love. That's what we're focusing on. So we're shifting gears, we're shifting that focus. And that can include like also giving to yourself. Like instead of focusing on taking away from the parts of yourself that you might not like, or you might criticize, or you might still be hard on because of like these expectations you feel like you're failing to meet, you're now giving to the parts of you where you're like, oh, like I want to cultivate more of this within myself. I want to see more of this. I want to, instead of focusing so much on like, oh, I hate this. I want to stop being like this. It's like, actually, I'd like to be more like this. Let me cultivate more of that in my life. And it's like a gentle, easy, not self-critical. Like you're not coming from a place of self-criticalness or even like, or hatred or anything, but it's more from a place of like generosity of like how can I make more of this in my life? How can I make more of this in me? How can I make more of this in the world? And it's very loving and very gentle and very kind and very caring and also very practical. Virgo can be very practical. And I feel like it's a very practical thing when you want to see more of something in the world, to create a new, different kind of world, to focus then on the things that help create that world. And that's what you're doing. And then we have Show the World the Real You, full moon in Aquarius. And it's like, yeah, in the scenario of giving to the parts of you that you want to cultivate and grow, then it culminates with you being able to show the world the real you, to be you without this helmet on, without the mask on, without the pretending to be who you're not, or pretending to be, or being someone who you're not, but in service of trying to not be the thing that someone else tried to make you be. You know what I mean? You're not living any longer in this perpetual state of trying to be something for someone else. You are just being you in all your glory, without worrying about other people's expectations, whether they're true or they're what you perceive them to be. Because remember, sometimes expectations can be unspoken, expectations can be spoken. Sometimes expectations are not even there at all, but they're the ones that we have inside our heads. And I feel like for you, again, like a lot of the expectations I feel like you might be placing into the world and into other people's heads about you are coming from places where, like, yes, they were placed on you in the past, but now you are inserting them into every situation. So you're assuming that someone else is expecting a certain thing of you when that was never communicated and it might not actually be the truth. You're assuming that the world is expecting a certain thing of you preemptively, and thereby you're picking up on any sign that the world is expecting that of you without noticing the signs that maybe that's not the case, or maybe the opposite is welcome, or maybe there's more openness and more divergence in people's like ideologies than you thought. And I feel like you are, you're recognizing where, like, even if this was put on you by outside forces, by other forces, you ultimately are now the one who's like continuing to perpetuate that within you, which is a good news because it's all in your power to remove your own restrictions from yourself, to give to the things that you want to cultivate rather than try to take from the things that you don't like, and thereby giving those things more power than they need to have. You want to be giving power to the things that you love, the things that you want to see more of, the things that you want to embrace in your life, in yourself. Whether you lover or hater, Taylor Swift song is coming through in my head, and it's the end of the song Daylight on the album Lover, when there's like that like little part where she's speaking at the end of the song, and it says, I want to be defined, I don't want to be defined by the things I hate or the things I'm afraid of. I want to be defined by what I love. I don't think she uses the word defined. I don't remember exactly what word she uses, but it's basically like being, but it's basically about like being defined by the things you love rather than the things that you hate. And I feel like that is essentially, that's essentially where you're at. That's essentially how you release this thing that's been following you around, these expectations and things like that, is by turning more towards the things that you love and turning away from the things that you hate, and just not giving them that kind of power anymore, whether that's a person, whether that's a system, whether that's a thought process, whether that's elements of yourself. You're just like, oh, I'm not going to think too hard about that anymore. I'm going to put more energy into creating more of the world that I want and creating more of the me I want. Opening myself up to learning who I really am, as opposed to situating myself in opposition to or in alliance with other people and things that I view as outside of myself. And yeah, and in that, you set yourself free. Okay. The last thing I want to point out here is that it's interesting we have Virgo and Aquarius, two of the, I think it's the only two zodiac signs that are like represented by actual like human figures and female figures. So again, like that, there might be a lot of people for this group for whom this is very literally about like gender and about like patriarchy versus, you know, women and all of that. But it does not have to be. But that being said, I hope that this resonated. That's all I have for you, Group 4. So thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I would love to hear how this resonated with you. And if you are interested in a personal reading, we do offer those on our website, sunflowerphilosophy.com. The link is in the description. My mom and I both work together, and we are both hypnotists, and she also does some human design stuff, so if you're interested in any of that, again, link in the description. Thanks again for watching. Have a wonderful life, and I will see you in another reading again sometime very soon. Bye!